What's good, ladies and gentlemen? So, welcome to another quick SK Wealth Academy podcast. And I'm going to discuss some of what's happening around the world with the coronavirus. So, the latest reports are that have been reported infections or infected people working in very crowded offices. One in a global bank office in London, another in the Facebook offices in Seattle. So this is really going to cause, I think, in the future, a lot of problems with a lot of these big corporations uh, being able to function properly, because a lot of people are not going to want to come to work to take the risk of perhaps getting infected. And other companies will actually start telling their employees to work from home most of the time. I mean, I've even changed up my schedule. I've started going out into the gym at as early as possible instead of like after work hours at 5:30 or 6 p.m. when there's maximum density of people at the gym. So I try to go at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning when there's only like a handful of people. And I'll also run a lot. I've started running more stairs. I've always run stairs, but when I'm running stairs, it's in a big outdoor area. It's not confined, and normally there's no one within 10 meters of me. So it's really interesting because I think the problem is, and this is again just a consequence of the lack of critical thinking skills that are really developed in schooling. Because as I've said many times, there's really not a strong correlation between high level academic degrees and intellect, because some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life when I was still working in private banking were graduates from some of the top MBA programs in America, like Wharton and Harvard and Stanford, were some of the dumbest people, like no joke, that I've ever met in my life. Because and by dumb, I mean they could not think for themselves. Everything they stated as far as their opinion in financial markets was either just a parody statement from some financial pundit, like a central banker or an IMF, the head of the IMF, or the World Bank, or some big bank, and they really did not have the capacity to process information and analyze it critically for themselves. So that's what I mean just by like being dumb. And again, even when we look at this coronavirus, there's a lot of lack of critical thought being displayed, because some people say, "Oh, I'm not worried about it," when people are just really making this virus into like a hysteria, or being hysterical over it when they should not be. Because I heard some people compare it to the flu, saying 30,000 people die a year from the flu. You know how moronic it is to believe that 30,000 people say, well, how can you say that's moronic? The Centers for Disease Control says that in their authoritative institution, so they would never lie to us. And that's exactly the kind of lack of critical thought that people who develop the academic systems are going to be elated over hearing people just say stupid things like that. Because if you can go just search on my Instagram, because I put a post as far as when I spoke about that, because the given statistic is only good as the methodology to gather it. If you look at the methodology for how the CDC comes up with 30,000 deaths from the flu, think about that. That would be like 600 per state. Or if we look by population, which is probably more to extrapolate, and by population would be more accurate. If you look at, say, California, I don't know. I know a lot of people have fled California in recent years just to the high cost of living, but 1/4 of the U.S. population used to live in California. So if there are 30,000, 1/4 of that is what? Like 7,500? Yeah, 7,500 is 1/4 of 30. You really think 7,500 people in California die from the flu every year? Because the IG post I put about this stupid, nonsensical deceptive stat that the CDC releases like almost every year about 30,000 people dying from the flu. So therefore people say, oh, look at the coronavirus. It's only like 3,000. You're making a big deal and that's the whole world. 30,000 people a year die from the flu every year in the United States. If you look at their methodology, which I explained in one of my IG posts, their methodology is totally flawed, makes zero sense whatsoever. And they're including probably in those 30,000 deaths. Actually, there's no way to even know because their methodology is so poor in reporting that statistic that a fully it may very well be that there's only a few hundred to 1,000 people every year, and that 29,000 or even 29,500 out of the 30,000 people reported are really not dying from the flu in the United States. And a lot of people just because they blindly believe everything that is told to them, like like a slave that is not free, but a lot of people really are enslaved up here mentally. So in any event, I just want to encourage all of you to do your own research and make your own conclusions, because really these days with how poor the journalism is about everything, about the finance. And I would even look, having worked in the financial industry for so long, the financial industry is almost like they have this oath of the omerta, right? The omerta is like that pledge of silence. And also what was a really big pillar of the omerta in the mafia is that you also zip your mouth when you view other criminal behavior that's going on. You don't say anything. So I feel like bankers have taken that pledge too, because since the 2008 financial crisis, they see all of their colleagues commit criminal behavior and they just remain silent about it. They will not say anything. So one of the reasons why we have such poor news is because of this kind of code of silence, like the mafia that about telling the truth that now social media is enforcing, that the banking industry has always enforced, and maybe even the pharmaceutical industry is enforcing now about what's really going on. So really the point of me making this really short video is just to stress the importance of relying on yourself to really get to the bottom of what the truth is. So that's it. Very just quick message. So I hope everyone's staying safe. Do your own research. If you want to follow the timeline, go to my blog at malamalama.com/WordPress and look at all the things that kind of looked ludicrous about what I've written about in the past, say 5 to 6 weeks, and then look at how many things I've written about have actually come true. So that's why you always have to think for yourself. I cannot stress that enough. Think for yourself. Don't let anyone else tell you what to think. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, remain intensely curious, and bless up, stay safe, stay healthy.